Hello and welcome to the USA Volleyball Show, the official podcast of USA Volleyball. My name is Stephen Munson, and I'm flying solo today because it is busy here at USA Volleyball with, right now, the USA Volleyball Open National Championship is going on with Clarence Hughes and Curtis Ward over there on the ground. And it's looking like a lot of fun. They just finished wave one. They have handed out the hardware yesterday, a couple days ago. And I did see Clarence make it on the mic, too, doing some commentating or announcing on the court. So looking forward to hearing him talk about that and that experience and how he enjoyed it. But Curtis pumping out a lot of great videos as well on social and YouTube and our website. So a lot happening there in Columbus on the ground with Opens. And they just began wave two today, and the sitting division finals are today as well. So excitement over there in Columbus. Looking forward to having them back here to talk about what all went down in Columbus and all the excitement there this year. And then, of course, looking forward to next year in Denver, I believe, or Dallas. Do Curtis Lard, can you chime in on that? Or was it Denver next year in our backyard, so that will be fun. So moving on here, I'm flying solo, so it's going to be a little bit of an awkward episode with just me talking, but bear with us here, and we'll have everybody back for next episode. But before we get into this episode, if you haven't already, go back and watch to episode 92. We had none other than not one, not two, not three, but four-time Paralympian U.S. women's sitting national team opposite Heather Erickson on the show. A fantastic episode with Heather. Always great to chat with her and catch up. She shares, a little bit about her background in sitting volleyball and volleyball in general too, and then how she was introduced to the sitting national team. She talks about her Paralympic experiences as well, including her first experience at the Paralympic Games in when she was just 15 years old. So that's incredible with that. But yeah, talks about coaching and so much more in that episode. So if you haven't already, go listen to that episode on all podcast platforms, and you can watch it on our website, usavolleyball.org, or our YouTube channel. Now, it's time for news. With Hughes, without Hughes. My name does not rhyme with news, but here we go. Just a reminder that the U.S. Men's National Team 2024 Paris Olympic Games roster has been released, so go over to usavolleyball.org and our social media channels to check that out. And moving on, the U.S. Women's National Team will be competing in Week 2 of Volleyball Nations League on home soil, my old stomping grounds in Arlington, Texas. Tickets are still available, so secure your seats and get ready to see the defending Olympic gold medalist live and in person. That's it for the inaugural 2024 Pro Volleyball Federation season. That's right, the PVF capped its inaugural season this past week at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. And the inaugural champion is Grand Rapids Rise. So congratulations to the Rise and former podcast guest, U.S. Beach Olympian Sarah Sponsel, who is on that squad as well. So congratulations to that team, and looking forward to next season. Registration is open for the Beach U19 World Championship Trials. Visit our website and sign up for your chance to represent USA. A big congratulations to the U.S. Beach national team pair Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss for winning gold at the Aspino Elite 16. Also, over the weekend, Hagen Smith and Logan Weber captured their first ever gold on the Beach Pro Tour with a win in Italy. Congratulations to both those pairs on the beach. And staying on the beach, congratulations to Chase and Miles on winning gold at the Norseca last week. That win puts them in the number 2 spot of Olympic qualifications in Ispino. They upset the number 1 ranked Brazilian team and advanced to the quarterfinals for more qualification points. The race is heating up on the beach, and with only 2 more events to go. So stay tuned for those rankings as they get finalized later this summer. The U.S. men's national team are 1-3 currently in Volleyball Nations League, heading into week 2 in Canada. Congratulations on the U.S. women, or the U.S. men's team. Sorry, I was covering them during week 1, and a young squad, couple players that just came out of college too, and a couple of them had mentioned in post-game interviews that the 14 of them have never played together on one court. So very impressive of what they were able to do, and they continued to get better throughout the tournament and ended the week with a win against the host country, Turkey. So congratulations to the men, and looking forward to the rest of the tournament. Like I said, week 2 begins June 4th in Ottawa, Canada. Follow along the action, all the action on USA Volleyball social media. And for more on the latest news, visit usavolleyball.org. Now, on to today's show. We have U.S. Beach National Team athlete Theo Brunner joining the show. He joined us last week before his heavy travel schedule during the Olympic qualification race that's heating up on the beach, like I mentioned before. But Theo shares all about his background, from how he got into volleyball and how he was introduced to the national team. He shares all about past partners, the relationships he built, and how he improved his game through those partnerships on the beach, and of course, what it takes to be a great partner on the beach. He talks about what it would mean to qualify for the Olympic Games and so much more. It's a great conversation. Happy to have Theo on, but let's jump right into it. Here's Theo. Theo, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. Really quick, before we kind of get into our question set here, is there anything that USA Volleyball fans, beach volleyball fans, anything that they should know about you? Any favorite hobbies or dirty secrets from the beach that you want to share with fans here?
Dirty secrets. Oh my God. Not off the top of my head. I mean, I'm old. I've been around this sport for a long time. So if you plumb the depths, there's some stuff in there, but off the top of my head, no. I tap danced when I was young. People think that's funny.
Ooh, love that.
And then, young until I was 18. And then I like video games. I don't play them often when the kids are around anymore. Although I try. A big volleyball nerd too. I love me some volleyball. So
I love that. I did not know about the tap dancing, so let's dive into that a little bit too. We're going to get to video games as well, because Sevrin and I are also gamers, so we want to talk about that too. But tap dancing, what got you into tap dancing? Was it your parents? Do you have friends that are into that? How did you get started into that?
My parents, they drew me in when I was like 5 or something, and then from about, I would say 3rd or 4th grade on, my mother kept bribing me to continue, essentially. So this links up with the gaming, I guess. She'd be like, "Yeah,
oh, nice.
There's no way you're getting this Nintendo 64 unless you promise you're gonna tap dance next year." And I'd be like, "All right, let's do it. Sign me up." So I continued until I was 18. So
I love that. Well, I mean, besides from being like forced to do it to get video games, did you enjoy tap dancing, or what about it that kind of kept you in it outside of the bribery?
It was mostly the bribery, but I don't know. I mean, I guess looking back, it's one of those things that I spent so much time when I was doing it. I was just like, this isn't cool, and like hiding it for people. It's like, I don't care anymore. So I wish I would have just like done it even harder, like until I was finished with it, because it was fun. I don't know. It's like in some of the questions you said about like why I like video games, it's the same reason I like volleyball, same reason I found tap dancing fun. It's like having something that you're not quite good at, and like trying to get better at it and seeing where you can go with it is, I don't know, the process that I like. So that, I mean, that was interesting to me. It's just like getting better and better and seeing how good I could get. And I assume it probably helped me with just overall coordination and footwork and stuff for sports, because I've always been told I have good footwork. So I guess we can attribute that to the tap dance. So,
well, thanks, Mom, for that. Then, yeah. I was going to ask you how it's translated over, but yeah, that makes sense. Good footwork, definitely can attribute that back to tap dancing, I think.
Tap dancing, 100%.
Well, let's get in. You said you're a volley nerd too, saying we got to talk about volleyball on the podcast. So let's dive into kind of your volleyball side and start from the beginning. You know, how were you first introduced to volleyball? You know, was it indoor first? Was it beach? How were you first introduced to the sport?
So my dad picked up the bug. I think he started playing, I could get this wrong, but I think when he was at MIT for graduate school, and I think he started playing on the club team there and sort of picked up the bug, and they started playing. We lived in California until I was 4. I was born here. And he just was interested in it. And then in Connecticut, there was like some men's leagues. And he would go every like Tuesday night, Sunday and Tuesday, to volleyball. So I would go with him sometimes, watch him play in the tournament. We'd pepper in the backyard, stuff like that. So I was just exposed to it. And then we just happened to, when I was a freshman in high school, it first became like an official sport at our high school. So I went on the team. I started going to like the Tuesday night, played with all the old folk, who would, you know, kick my butt.
Yep.
And, yeah, from there, I mean, and then from there, I wasn't really planning on playing in college. But then I think I saw Sean Rooney playing in the Final Four, the guy from Pepperdine.
Cool.
And I was like, I can do that. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll look at some colleges. And I applied, sent in some awful recruiting tapes, which I don't know now with the new coach, Rick, if they still have it, but they used to keep my tape and play it as a joke once in a while and just laugh at me. It was me and a bunch of old guys, like just playing like 3-on-3 indoor. And then my high school games were like, we didn't really have positions. We just go around and I would hit all the balls and had headband. I didn't know how to dive or anything. It was like just a different world in Connecticut volleyball. So I'm from there, went to Santa Barbara and got the indoor bug and got pretty good at it. And then, yeah, played some pro overseas, but I kind of always wanted to play beach. And then made the switch when I got the chance. So
when, yeah, I mean, you do those old man leagues, the open gyms, you get humbled real fast.
You get humbled, and they're surprisingly serious about their volleyball.
Very serious, yeah.
I'm actually like still in touch with a lot of the people I used to play
awesome
with, and they're always very supportive of me, which is awesome too. So it was just when I was back for Christmas, I got together with everyone I used to play with. They had a little party for me to hopefully push me to the Olympics, which we'll see. 3 more weeks, 3 more tournaments, and see what happens. So yeah.
We might need Sevrin. We might need to try to get this recruiting tape that Theo's been talking about.
Theo, forget the recruiting tape. I want Theo wearing the headband back out on the beach.
There you go. Yes.
Headband, knee pads, I didn't dive. Yeah. Bring it all back.
Theo, let's everybody's sort of first introduction to the national teams always seems to be a little unique and different, and I'm wondering what yours was when you were first introduced to the national teams in your career.
For me, it's a lot more organized now than it was when I started. I never really participated in, because a lot of times I was based in Santa Barbara for the summer. When I was coming back from indoor, that's when I started playing a lot of beach. And then I didn't really like get in with the quote unquote national team until when I made the switch to beach. I had like taken a year off of playing, had like a health issue. And then I was in Anaheim training, and I was one of like 12 middles, and I got like no reps. And even though I thought I belonged at the highest level, I was like, this was very fun. And then I saw Nick Lucena. He was in the gym there training, and I knew that he was playing with John Hayden. They were playing small ball, and I was like, it's probably not a long-term thing. So I was like, hey man, like, why don't you give me a tryout? Like, we'll go to the beach, play a little bit. If you think I'm good enough, let's play. And we did that, and he thought I was good enough. And then we started playing, and I made the full switch. So, and then after that year, we had kind of done well enough. He dumped me for the first time after that year, but we did well. I did well, and I was able to find partners from there and kind of make the full switch. So,
were there certain things that they're looking for in that kind of tryout? Is it like testing your agility? Is it testing how you get to certain balls? And did you kind of know that going into that?
I mean, I knew he was looking at me. I actually played against Nick when he was taking a look at me. So I think blocking him a bunch of times was a good indicator. And then I think I could kind of like side out well enough. And I'm pretty athletic for my size. And even though I never passed or anything indoor, I'm like decent enough at it. So I think I was good enough at the basic stuff, and then like very good at the blocking portion. So it was worth it for him to take a risk. And that was a time where there was no AVP. I think that was the first year back, 2013, after it went bankrupt and wasn't around for a few years. So the pickings were pretty slim for defenders. There wasn't a lot of blockers apart from like Phil and Jake playing at the time. So it was kind of like a unique time and like a good opportunity. I think if I tried to do the same thing nowadays, it would be a little bit tougher. Because now there's just more going on. There's people have more options. I think it would have taken me a little longer to crack it.
What was it about beach that like hooked you, that gave you that itch to keep coming back and on the sand? Was it, just the amount of touches you were getting versus indoor? What was it?
Well, like I said, I love kind of like learning and mastering new skills, or trying to. There's just a whole lot on the beach that I wasn't doing indoor, because indoor I was a middle blocker. So I always loved. I started playing. I was playing with a friend, one of the liberos. This guy Ben Brockman. We'd play like CBVA opens and stuff in the summer, and that kind of got me into it. And just the feel of the game, the way it's very much like on you. It's hard to hide in the sport of beach volleyball, and just having that responsibility, like having to pass and set, and like do all the skills. It really was just like an addictive experience for me. And I was like, man, if I could ever do this for a living, that'd be awesome. So, yeah.
Well, stepping outside of volleyball just for a bit, and you mentioned at the top as we were kind of getting started, maybe before we started recording, but you have 2 kids. You're a father. What do you love most about being a dad?
Ooh. I don't know. Like right now, it's a lot of work. I like the first night or two when I leave home is very fun, because then I get to sleep all the night. But I don't know, just watching them grow up, and it's a difficult thing with beach, especially this qualification process, because I'm away from them a lot. But I think in general, I'm pretty fortunate, where it's like if I had a 9 to 5, I would see them maybe early in the morning a little bit, maybe in the evening. But now I get to be like a full part of their life and have like a really good relationship with the kids. So I think that's been my favorite part, is just like the tight bond I've been able to have with my kids through the sport. So I hope when they're older that they want to play, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it's either tap dancing or beach volleyball, I think, right?
Yeah. Or if they're like me, it's just the complete opposite of whatever I've done for.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I can relate to the sleep thing. I have a 9-month-old, so whenever I get away for work travel and stuff, I sleep pretty good, and I enjoy that as well.
For sure.
Yeah. Any, I guess, yeah, I have a 9-month-old. Our producer Curtis is expecting soon as well, in a couple months. Any tips just for being a dad, especially new dad?
Oof. If your child is a naturally good sleeper, take all the credit for it. And if they're bad, then it's not your fault. It's just the gene.
Good.
Because we had one good and one bad sleeper. So the first one, I was like, man, like, what are we doing wrong? And then the second one, I was like, oh, this is easy. Like, just like
So easy.
put them in their crib and they just go to bed. It's nice. But I don't know. As long as you like put some effort in and try hard, I think you're ahead of the curve. If you like expect there to be like a magic pill for anything, they're always going to keep you guessing. And also, don't get complacent. That would be my number one piece of advice. The second you're like, oh, we got this, we got a handle on this, the potty training or whatever, then they throw you a curve and it all goes to shit all. But so yeah, don't get complacent. Just like expect the worst, and then when they're really good and things are going well, you can enjoy it.
What are their current interests? I know that like dinosaurs at that age, sometimes it's big, and then as you get older, maybe you're introducing the beach volleyball aspect of things. But are the current interests a little bit different at this point?
Current interest, no sports really. They when I bring out the ball and try and play catch and stuff, they're not super into it. Both kids love to scoot aggressively. So they scoot super fast. Love going to the playground. That's like our number one activity is go to the playground, do the monkey bars, all that stuff. But yeah, I'd say nothing crazy, just normal kid stuff. They want to watch shows. We try and limit it because they're all addicted and they have a million options to watch, unlike when we were kids. But the older one, maybe a little more drawing and learning. And the younger one, who's almost 3, still just scooting and doing whatever her older sister does. So.
Yeah, what are the ages? You said 3 and what was the other one?
Almost 3. Almost 3, June 6th, and then 5.
Okay.
6 in October. So
you kind of touched on it a little bit, just kind of talking about balancing, being a professional athlete and fatherhood too. But you speak to like some of the challenges, especially, more specifically being a beach athlete and your schedule's kind of all over the place. You're traveling all over the place. What are the challenges of balancing fatherhood with that?
I mean, it's really tough, and it's especially tough like on my wife when I'm gone. She's got to deal with the 2 small kids by herself. We don't really have any family around. We have some friends that are willing to help out, luckily, and some nice neighbors. But it's just, it's very difficult. I always tell at USA Beach, I'm like, what about like a nanny, some daycare action in here? Then I'll bring them to the gym sometimes. We're all super nice, but I'm sure it's pretty annoying. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think there's no perfect balance. Like I wish I was home more when I'm traveling like a ton, and I'm gone for, the better part of several months at the peak part of the season. But like I said before, I'm appreciative that when I am around, I have a lot of time to spend with them. But yeah, I don't know, for like advice or anything, it's just tough. I don't know. Nothing solid, I guess.
A USA Volleyball daycare is a great idea, actually.
Great idea.
I'm sure, yes. Maybe,
resources.
Yeah. You could probably just drop him off in Severin's office too. I'm sure he's fine with that.
Yeah.
Well, there's some space to run around in the back, Good work. Theo, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of your beach partnerships, and obviously your current one with Trevor. It's been a battle as you guys make your way, trying to make it to the Paris Games, and want to get your thoughts on the last 3 tournaments, and just your overall thoughts there.
Let's see. So that's Brazil, China, Tepic. So started the year with a rough stretch in Brazil. I was kind of sick, and I don't know. It's such like a fine line, these tournaments. All the teams are so good that sometimes it comes down to matchups. And the first couple tournaments, some of the big matches, we just lost in 2 points by 2 points in the third set. And anytime it's like that, it's kind of a coin flip. So, but after that, we went to Guadalajara, had to play some really tough teams, and had a good tournament. another solid tournament in Tepic, and then we went to China right after and barely lost in the first round of playoffs. And then this last tournament was crazy. We had to, because we didn't do great in China, we had to get on a plane, fly 50 hours to Brazil, like all sorts of travel delays and stuff because there was weather in China. And then we went and actually like played some great volleyball. But the way they have it now with the tie break, getting out of pool, we kind of got screwed. Played really well, but like the other matches went in an unexpected fashion, and we ended up losing the point ratio battle. So we came away with no good points. So yeah, now I kind of figured it would come down to the last 3 tournaments, and now it's whoever plays the best in these last 3 is probably going to go. And if that's how it is, then I like it, because in the end, we want the best team to go. And if we get beat out because the other team's playing better than us, then that's the best chance for the U.S. to get a medal. And I think it's going to be us. And hopefully this moment of difficulty and stress and pressure is going to force us to bring the best out of each other and ourselves, and ultimately become the best possible team going into Paris, most capable of winning a medal.
Yeah, just picking up on that too. Like, do you think that kind of pressure is like you're looking forward to that for these next 3 tournaments, and you're kind of looking ahead at some of the competition that's going to be there, and that kind of excites you, it sounds like?
I mean, it excites me. It's stressful, especially stressful for the wife, and family and friends and all that. But I think historically, that type of circumstance, because it's happened before that we've been down. Before the Guadalajara tournament, we were essentially losing the race. Ended up playing some of our best volleyball those next couple tournaments. So I think it's something that's good for us. But you never know. You could get screwed and have some really tough matchups, or some balls don't go your way. There's some triple aces. You never know. But I mean, it's the challenge like that, the difficulty and uncertainty that's fun about the beach. Not fun when you don't do well, but like having a challenge like that and having to face it head on and go for it is what I like about the sport. And yeah, definitely grateful for the opportunity to have 3 tournaments where if we play well, we'll go to the Olympics. So even though it's a tough situation, I'm happy to be in it and grateful for the opportunity.
To kind of zoom out to sort of the macro scale, what is it about Trevor's game that you really like, and what do you think is paired well with your game to make you a successful pair?
I mean, Trevor's just kind of been underestimated his whole career, which I would consider the same of myself. But I think we have a good way of playing on the court. Like we're a super steady team. We tend to play well in the pressure-filled matches and pressure-filled situations. And kind of, I think we know we can rely on each other in those big moments, and we usually don't just fold up and give it to the other team, which is a big part of the beach. So yeah, just having somebody that's that stable that I know is going to take care of himself and be able to make plays in the big moments. And at the end of games, it's huge. And I think his whole career, he's been like a gamer, and you get him in a close battle in a big match, and he's as good as anybody for sure at everything.
You guys aren't big huggers, but you got the high fives down.
Yeah. We save them, I guess, for the big moments and when we really deserve it. But yeah, Trevor likes to play hard to get. So so yeah, when I get that hug, it's all the sweeter.
I love that. I like what you said about just wanting the best team to go and represent USA at the Olympics. And, if you get beat out, because the other team was better, then that's okay. And you want that to happen. You want that competition, especially down here at the wire. But could you elaborate a little bit about, the relationships between, all the American pairs? I know it gets really heated on the beach, even, when you're going USA versus USA, but, at the end of the day, I mean, at least from your perspective, it sounds like a very, family atmosphere a little bit, or at least mindset, just, wanting the best teams there to represent USA and get on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously want it to be us out there. But in the end, like, we're doing this, we all get funding from USA Volleyball, health insurance, all that stuff, because they want us to win medals. So in the end, like, I guess I'm respectful of that fact. And if we get beat out by another team that's playing better than us, then that's the best opportunity for the U.S. to win a medal. And in the end, that's all we want. I think most of us as athletes want the U.S. to bring home medals and make the country proud. So yeah, I think that's a big part for everybody.
Awesome. Yeah. And you were just talking about your partnership with Trevor, but looking, at your resume of some of your past partners, some Olympians as well. And I have to take a look over at my screen here because it's a long list, but Nick Lucena, Kame Schalk, Reed Pretty, John Hyden, Casey Patterson, Billy Allen, Sean Rosenthal, Todd Rogers, some incredible names, in volleyball, let alone beach volleyball. But, I guess, yeah. Could you talk a little bit about, those past partnerships, what you've taken from each one, and, just playing with some of those big names too?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm super fortunate, especially early in my career. Yeah, playing with a lot of people that have already had success. It was maybe I didn't take full advantage till I was a little bit older, but it was a great chance to just kind of see how they take care of themselves, see how they approach the game. And there's so many different ways to think about the sport, and different ways to excel. And I think as I got older, I was able to kind of, and still am able to kind of draw on all that experience and watching all these guys and playing with all these great players, as far as approaching the game and mindset and all that stuff. So, yeah, the list is so long. It's hard. I guess, with Nick and I have played some good ball for several years, and, he was the ultimate. He kind of inspired me for this last stretch of my career, because I think he had a rough go for a lot of it before we started playing together. He almost made the Olympics once, was always kind of in the wheel of partnerships and getting dumped and stuff like that. And he just kept going, and his motivation was always like as long as I feel like I'm getting better and I'm learning, I want to keep going. And that's kind of been my thing. It's like, I've had plenty of times where I was like, oh, this isn't that fun anymore. It's not going that well. And I'm just going to do one more year, one more partnership, and see if I put forth all my effort, like if I can get a little bit better, and just, and I've been able to, I don't know, stay on that train of improving a little bit, learning more about myself and about the game and getting better. And that's a big thing I took from Nick. But yeah, everyone's kind of unique and has their own way. And I think I've taken a little bit from each guy.
Yeah, we hear a lot that like the partnership on the beach is like a marriage or a relationship. What goes into kind of the decision to change partners and how that whole process is started and where it ends up?
I think it's all because like we don't have anybody picking the team for us and we're in charge of that aspect. I think it's a lot of just constant assessment of like where you're at. If you think you can do better with somebody else, like if you think you're good with somebody else or would be better with somebody else, like both for you and because them, and it's a constant like assessment thing. And yeah, I think that's the main thing. It's just like, is this my best opportunity to excel and make some money and play well? Or is it with somebody else? So everyone's always making that assessment for themselves. And at the end of the year, you usually find out where people are at. So, yeah. And I think it's good on the beach too, to not take it personally. Cause at first it's easy cause it is like a relationship and spend so much time with whoever you're playing with, and it can feel really bad when they dump you. But I think learned over time that just honesty is always better than a blind side at the end, like being like, hey, like I'm thinking about playing with such and such or whatever. I think it's always better to be forward with those type of things as opposed to like a last second blind side.
You mentioned, what you've learned from your past partnerships, being a professional, learning how to take care of yourself, even what you just mentioned here, just, the relationship aspect of the partnerships on the beach. I guess, yeah, what is like the biggest thing that you've learned that you've kind of carried with you that you constantly remind yourself about, or is one of those it? Can you elaborate on any of those?
I mean, like you said, it's I think taking care of yourself, like everybody does it in a different way, but pretty much to a T, all the really good players that I played with has their own process and their own, like, they're going to go to the gym in their own way consistently and do all their stretching or whatever, give massages, take care of themselves physically in their own way. And I think just being diligent about all that stuff is, definitely something that I've taken away and used for myself and found my own way and the ways to work out that work best for me and take care of myself that work best for me. But yeah, I think from everybody, it's that concept for sure.
Is there anyone you had like anything like off the wall, like just totally weird that you never like thought about doing, like training wise? Or I imagine Casey Patterson had some wild things he was doing.
Casey was pretty old school. He just wanted to practice and
cool,
put a lot of effort in, and he was a really, really good teammate. Say John Hayden was interesting because I remember one of the first things he said was like, "Oh, like we don't have to work on passing; it's not that important." I was like, "Oh, I heard that," but it's an interesting thing that you think that. And he would never hit at practice. So,
oh really?
As like a older player now, I think sometimes I'll be like, you know what, I'm just going to shoot every ball today and work on my vision and stuff. And playing with a guy like John, it like gives you confidence to be like, you know what, I don't have to just try and win every single day of practice. Some days I can just work on what I want to work on. And then you see someone like Miles Partain, who I haven't played with, but he'll just come to practice and be like, I'm going to work on my poke set, and he just poke sets a bunch, even if they lose. So I think that's
cool.
That's a good thing too. It's just, I've learned that like working on what you want to work on, it is sometimes better than just trying to win any specific drill. It's more like, if my goal is to be a better jump server and it's going to maybe cause us to not have some good practices, but I'm going to slowly gain confidence in my jump serve, then it's worth it. Like stuff like that.
And are there certain things that you actively think about to be a good partner for the person that you're paired with?
No, maybe I'm not the best in that way. I mean, I always look at the sport. You're just trying to create the most efficient brand of volleyball as possible with your current partner. So it's always learning the ins and outs, and there's a lot of communication at the beginning and trying to figure out like what sets they like and all that stuff. But I'd say, I mean, I guess I'm a bit of a chameleon as far as like personality and stuff. Like I don't need a certain type of energy on the team or a certain type of offense. But I am always trying to figure out like what my teammate likes and what they need in certain situations. And that's always like an ongoing puzzle to be unlocked.
I think we've held back long enough. We got to get into video games here. And you kind of teased it at the top is, the reason you love video games is, maybe similar to why you love beach volleyball as well. But could you tell us why you like video games or, what interests you about them?
Yeah. I mean, I just love trying to figure stuff out. So like there's a strategy game or a game like I played a few years ago, a game Hades, if you guys have heard of it.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I think if I'm using my confirmation bias abilities, they can be good for your reflexes and all that, especially as you get older. So that's the excuse that I use, at least. But yeah, just being like, okay, I need to be able to accomplish this. How do I do it? What are the things I can change? Like, can I get better with my timing? Can I learn like what the moves this boss is presenting to me, like how he telegraphs it and what to do in response. And yeah, I love that process of figuring things out. And video games is like it's very clear, like, okay, you have to get here and you have to be able to do these things to get here. So now do it, and figure it out. So yeah, I'm definitely addicted to that process.
Really quick, speaking of Hades, do you have any tips on that? I'm still trying to get through that game. What weapon choices did you use, and what skills did you have to get through that game, or have you gotten through it?
I got through the first. I didn't like fully complete it, but I mean, because when you first beat the boss, then it opens up. You can like, I forget what it's called, but you can like ratchet up the difficulty, to earn new rewards and all that stuff. I'm trying to think. I think I had some stuff that was more on the damage over time side. I can't remember exactly what god gave it to me, but I saw that the new Hades just came out in the early access version. Mm-hmm. So I might have to jump into that for Portugal briefly. Just for the reflexes.
Right? For the training. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is Hades the only game you're playing, or are there others in your library that you have as like kind of go-tos, or even some of your past favorites?
I used to play a little bit of Overwatch with some friends.
Okay. Yeah.
That was real fun as far as like you learn a couple heroes that you thought you were good with and try and climb as high as you can in the rankings. I like games with ranking systems because then I'll kind of usually set a goal. They'll have the ranking where it's like it puts you in the top maybe 5 or 10% of players. And I'll be like, okay, once I get there, I'll be happy. And then I kind of stop playing after that. So Rocket League was another one that I played for a while. I think Troy Field is a big Rocket Leaguer as well. We played a little bit together. But yeah, usually like try and get in the top upper echelon, but not like crazy level where you have to, spend thousands of hours twisting your rocket and just practicing like all day. I'm not willing to do that for a game, but anything like on the fly learning, trying to get as good as I can at the basic version of the game is my bag.
Just my quick story time is that my sophomore year in college, we had a third roommate that was a random, and all he would do is exactly that, practicing of the twisting the rocket and everything. Like, I don't think the guy ever went to class, but it was all Rocket League the entire time.
Yeah. Once I got to where I was like trying to Google like how to get better, and people are like, "Oh, you just have to be able to complete this training course where you're like flying upside down and backwards and bouncing the ball." I'm just like, no, okay, I'm done. I don't need to be able to do this. And yeah, once I got to the tier in the rankings where everyone's like going up on the ceiling and jumping off and doing backwards shots, I was like, I don't want to do that. It's too much. I reached my limit.
For our Overwatch listeners, what heroes did you gravitate to?
Ooh, I usually liked being some sort of tank. So I think Zarya was my favorite for a while because I felt like I could be in the fray, popping up the shields and doing lots of damage. But I tend to not like the super, like the weak damage dealers is less fun for me. I like kind of being in the mix and constantly fighting and doing stuff like that. I feel like that. I like situational awareness, I think is one of my strengths. So somebody where you're just constantly in there picking when to push and when not to, I think is really fun.
I don't know if we've already...
Zarya was my favorite.
No, yeah. I don't know if we've already talked about one of these games being your all-time favorite, but if we haven't, well, what would be your all-time favorite game?
Just in terms of like pure nostalgia, it would have to be Final Fantasy VII. So I've been playing the remake of it.
Yeah.
And that's been a blast from the past. Just like all the music and characters. That was a good one. But like I've played it since on the mobile, on like my phone and stuff. It's not quite the same when you replay it, but at the time in like 1990, whatever, when it came out, it was like the greatest thing of all time. So, and now literally, I think I showed my daughter a video of the original. And it's like, this was like the best game ever. And she's like, oh, why are they made of Legos? And I was like, all the games used to look, yes.
Yeah. I'm actually the same with, I would say my all-time favorite, and probably just for nostalgia purposes, is Pokemon. That was like my earliest memories of playing video games was Pokemon. I actually have a shelf right here with some of my original Pokemon games and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and the same thing, I would show my brothers what it looked like, back then on the Game Boy, and they were like, what? What is this? Yeah. This is horrible. But yeah, that's probably my favorite all-time video game too.
Okay.
Awesome. Yep. Sevrin, you got to share yours. What about you?
I'll go a little bit different. Mine would be the PlayStation 2 Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was such a good game.
Good choice. Yeah.
Played some of that in college, so that was a lot of fun.
See, exactly. It was a goated game.
Yep, absolutely.
Are you sharing video games with your children at all, or have they gotten into that side of your interest as well?
But my eldest, she's pretty into it. She's already mastered Paw Patrol, the
nice
video game,
Yep.
and then there's a new Super Mario Brothers game on Switch where you can play 2-player, and they make it so if you play certain characters like Yoshi, the other character can jump on your back. So
cool.
That's been fun. Although she's like a super demanding partner.
Is that Wonder Super Mario Wonder? Yeah.
So if I don't complete like a run of stuff in a couple tries, she's angry. like tears and like, what is wrong with you? It's a lot of pressure, which I like.
I love that. That's also training, though. Dealing with pressure. So that goes hand in hand with what you're doing on the beach. So there you go.
I feel like all of the Mario games cause controversy. Like I've never been, more at odds with my brother, whether it's Mario Kart, Super Mario Bros, anything like that. It's just, there's a lot of potential for some angry players there.
Yeah, I think a lot of my biggest like rage moments were, like we used to play in college for like, we'd play $5 around the multiplayer of Mario Kart Double Dash on GameCube. And also Super Smash Brothers. Oh, and me and Paul Lotman, another USA volleyball guy, we got in some fights. We played in Greece together, and he brought his Wii, and we'd play. Or no, maybe it was GameCube. We played Smash Brothers together for money. For like, we got paid in like black market cash, so like play for cash. And we had a lot of shouting matches about like how unfair it was that so and so won, and so. Because we'd pick a random hero, so you couldn't pick your character.
Okay, I was gonna ask what your main was, or who your main was on Smash.
I think Zelda was my best in the GameCube version, but just like everything else, once I found out that there's all these like advanced tricks, like wave running and stuff like that, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna advance to those crazy levels where you're like frame skipping and stuff.
Yep.
So
it gets real deep, yeah, for sure.
You can go very deep, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, we could talk about video games for a whole podcast episode, but might have to bring you on another time for that. But just I guess I imagine right now your focus is trying to get that Olympic spot. But have you thought about next summer at all, or I'm sorry, after this summer after qualification, what your plans are for the beach?
Not really. I always kind of figure to start tapering it down because just a lot of travel. Like it's super difficult. It's a ton of travel. The current iteration of the international volleyball, it's like small draws, a lot of really good teams, and not a lot of money for prize winnings. So it's, I don't know. I'll probably start transitioning to something else, but I could see myself keeping it, rolling a little bit for another year or so. If I could find if I found a young guy who was trying to get better and I thought I could help him out, that would be fun. Like a fun way to maybe prepare the next generation. But I don't think I would force it. Like if I couldn't find someone and just play it with someone in qualifiers just to play it, I think I'm probably done with that. But who knows? Yeah, like I feel like I'm older. I'm kind of ready to stop, but at the same time, I'm still learning about the game, and I think I'm probably playing the best I've played in my career now. So I don't know if I would just straight up stop, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how everything goes with the Olympics and the rest of the season, and go from there.
You mentioned transitioning. Have you thought about what that would go to, or are you looking into coaching, or what are you kind of looking at?
I don't know what. I do love coaching, but I'm not the best. I'm not the best as like, if you were to put me with like a group of 14-year-olds, I have to organize like 20 of them. That's not really my wheelhouse, but yeah. As far as like skill refinement, technical stuff, and I think just all of my experience in the sport and not having the best coaches when I was younger, I think I could have a lot to add to like young potential elite players in the sport. So that'll be fun, but I don't know how well monetized that would be. So it's hard to say. Like if I got a sweet offer to sell insurance or something next year, I'd probably just take it. But but otherwise, I mean, I would definitely stick my toes in and see if there are any assistant positions in collegiate beach. If like I'm eligible for it, if I need to go for more school or what. But I definitely stay involved in the volleyball community in some way. But whether it's my main profession, I still don't know. So.
Just to follow up on a couple answers ago with, is there anybody that you would kind of qualify as one of those young players right now on the USA circuit or in the USA system that you admire, or that you admire a specific part about their game at all, whether you've seen it internationally or on AVP or anything like that?
Yes. So that's kind of what, when Huntington goes this weekend, I'm going to kind of follow from afar and watch, because a lot of these young players, because the draws of the AVP have been small and it's difficult to crack into the FIVB. I haven't seen a whole lot of them like playing in like big time matches. So I'm looking forward to watching and learning and seeing if there's any guys that I like, and and then we would go from there. But yeah, it seems like there's some good young guys coming up, like Hagen and Logan have been doing well, and Evan Corey's definitely got, a lot of potential. And then there's always a couple of indoor guys that might feel like playing start next year. And then who else? James Shaw and Jordan
Hoppy.
Jordan Hoppy, yeah, they've been doing well, so that's an interesting duo. But yeah, I definitely plan on watching this upcoming AVP and the upcoming FIVBs at the end of the year and seeing what's what and who's coming up.
Thank you for that insight. That was fun. I guess, kind of wrapping up here. Is there anything that we've left on the table or anything that you'd like to share or talk about, especially kind of getting down here at the wire of Olympic qualification?
I don't think so. Yes. Oh no, if you're like a fan of beach volleyball and have somebody that can explain to you, or have a law degree and can go through all the rule books and figure out like how the draws and qualifiers and matchups and pools and tiebreakers and stuff work, which is, I feel like even amongst the players, I'm like one of the few guys that mostly knows what's going on. It's going to be an awesome time. Like this is the best time of year to watch. Like, and I remember even for the Tokyo Olympics, I wasn't really in the hunt for that. But just some of the matches were crazy. Like watching, I remember there was a match between Nicolai Lupo from Italy and Latvia, and it was like the winner is probably going to go. And nobody really knows that except like the few people that have been following closely. But you know that they know it, because when you're watching the match, like the pressure and the stakes and the way that everyone's playing and how seriously they're taking it, it's just off the charts. So yeah, if you're willing to put that time in or follow somebody that can tell you what matches are worth watching, it's the best time of year to watch. So I would encourage anybody who's into beach volleyball at all to do some research and get hyped up for these next 3 tournaments.
Theo, that might be your niche after you eventually hang it up, is just breaking that down, being a content creator or a broadcaster or something like that.
I'll be a mercenary for hire. Come on.
Yeah. We might have to tap you for that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us and chat. I know you got a really busy schedule. You're balancing dad life too, but where can people follow you along your journey here, especially getting towards qualification?
I mean, you can watch the matches first of all on BBTV. I'm not super active, especially this year, on social media, but at Lord Brunner, I'm on there. But yeah, I guess I don't know. Watch this podcast.
Love that. Thank you.
But yeah, I don't have any. It's actually probably there is a need to be filled in terms of like there's not a whole lot of content that like brings you into the current like matchups and partnerships and what's going on behind the scenes, because there is a lot of interesting stuff. But I'm not the type. I wouldn't be like sharing that all via social media. But But I do wish there was somewhere that was explaining all that info. But
I think that's what you got to get into.
maybe we'll see.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been awesome. A great conversation. Thank you for sharing so much insight and getting your perspective on the beach volleyball community and culture too. But yeah, we'll definitely be watching you and Trevor and rooting you guys on, and exciting weeks of beach volleyball ahead for sure.
Very much so. Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Theo.
Okay. All right. See you guys
later. An exciting time in volleyball all around, but especially on the beach, talking about the Olympic beach qualification going on right now, the race to qualification for Paris 2024. It's heating up, and with only 2 events left, like I mentioned at the top of the show, it's coming down to the wire here, and Theo talks a lot about that too in our conversation. So happy to have Theo on, talk candidly about the qualification race. And I really liked what he said about just, he wants the best team there, whether that's him and Trevor or, whoever it is, but he wants the best USA teams there to represent the US Beach program and to compete for that podium in Paris. So really cool to hear him say that. I know it gets heated on the beach, even between our US teams, but, they really care about the program, and they want the best team there representing all of them. There's 2 pairs, but those pairs are representing the whole program, which is great. So awesome conversation with Theo. Loved hearing him talk about, just his past partnerships and all he's learned from all those guys, and some big names on that list of partners, but each one being different and taking a little bit from them to help elevate his own game, from both the physical side and the mental side as well. Of course, love chatting with Theo, just about being a dad too. As a dad myself, I love those conversations, and, just getting a few tips here and there, picking his brain a little bit, about being a dad. And, he's balancing his work life, being a professional beach athlete, and doing the same too, balancing my work life and family. And it's difficult, but, love hearing him, just talk a little bit about it, and, the brighter days ahead with, getting no sleep. But, yeah, thanks. So thank you, Theo, for chatting about that. Love talking about dad life. But wishing Theo and Trevor all the best as they prepare for, the final 2 events of qualification here. It's an uphill battle, but not an impossible one for them. So wishing them all the best on the beach, and, like he said, may the best man win, and looking forward to seeing who represents USA in Paris this summer. But thank you again, Theo, for taking the time to sit down with us, and good luck moving forward. Of course, he dropped his social media in there too, so give him a follow and follow along his journey as he prepares for qualification. And he said maybe he's hanging it up afterwards. He's not quite sure yet, but he's looking at opportunities after Pro Beach. So follow along his journey there on social media. But now is a great time to wrap up the show. Let's start with upcoming events. We have the Great Plains Beach National Qualifier, May 30th through June 1st in Omaha. The Puget Sound Pacific Northwest Early Summer Beach National Qualifier, June 1st through the 2nd in Snohomish, Washington. The Sun Country Beach National Qualifier, June 1st in Albuquerque. The Southern Huntsville Raleigh Beach National Qualifier, June 8th in Cartersville, Georgia. The Ohio Valley No. 2 Beach National Qualifier, June 9th in Columbus. The 2024 Beach Collegiate National Team Training Block, June 11th through the 19th in Hermosa Beach, California. Good luck to all those athletes and clubs competing in those events. More details on all upcoming events can be found at usavolleyball.org. Now, on to the pro side of things. Clarence normally does this and has to has to work through all the pronunciations, but I'm going to do my best here. On to the pro side of things, the 2024 FIVB Women's VNL Week 2 starts today, June 2nd in Arlington, Texas. The Beach Pro Tour Futures Spies, May 29th through June 2nd in Switzerland. The Beach Pro Tour Challenge Ster Jablonki, May 30th through June 2nd in Poland. The 2024 Men's U21 National Team Training Block, June 1st through the 8th in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The 2024 FIVB Men's VNL Week 2, June 3rd through the 9th in Ottawa, Canada. Moving on to the Beach Pro Tour Elite 16 in Ostrava, June 5th through the 9th in Czech Republic. The Beach Pro Tour Futures Krakow, men only, June 6th through the 9th in Poland. The Beach Pro Tour Futures Svetilas, June 6th through the 9th in Bulgaria. The 2024 Men's U21 Continental Championship, June 9th through the 17th in Mexico. And then after Arlington, the FIVB Women's VNL moves to Japan for Week 3. That will be June 10th through the 16th. Good luck to all the athletes competing in those pro events and safe travels to everyone. Check out usavolleyball.org for all other national team updates. Remember, listeners, you can rate and review, share with friends, family, teammates. It really helps this podcast grow. We just hit 65,000 downloads, so thank you so much for all the support. Check out our video episodes on our website and YouTube as well. And again, thank you for your continued support. Do you have a topic that you want to hear about, or maybe a club, an athlete, parent, club director, anyone who you think should be featured on this episode? You can email us at the USAB show at usab.org. Leave us feedback. Let us know about any future topics you would like to hear about. And until next time, new episodes drop every other week. This is the USA Volleyball Show, the official podcast of USA Volleyball.
This has been the USA Volleyball Show with Clarence Hughes and Stephen Munson. Produced by Curtis Ward. Our content producer is Laura Fawcett. Our marketing lead is Bree Jaycox. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to rate and review. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the USA Volleyball Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.